Do you guys remember the exact moment when you fell in love with the Persona series? In my case, I will always look back on Yu's awakening and calling forth Izanagi. And isn't that just the coolest thing you'll ever see in the game? I couldn't wait to level up this persona and equip him with the best skills possible, and it stops learning new skills at level 5? Atlus, is this some kind of cruel joke? Initial personas, or more known in the fandom as the starter personas, are my favorite collection of personas in the game, as these starter personas reflect the traits and ideologies of the characters. Zoro symbolizing Morgana's paragon of masculinity, which can be surmised as pecs. The cunning ninja Jiraiya mirrors Yosuke's quick-wittedness, most of the times. Penthesilea's queenly aura resonates with Mitsuru as long as Marin Karen hits. Oh, come on! Needless to say, starter persona is a great concept as it can be used to tell the growth of these beloved characters while also staying true to the overall theme. Starter personas could have been perfect if it weren't for the main character's initial personas becoming a deadweight before they even reach level 10. Why do these starter personas become unviable, to the point that they either become fusion materials or bench warmers? Well, there's a lot of good reasons why Izanagi stops learning skills at an early level, and why Persona 6 need to fix starter personas. But before that though, if you want our Sen to become viable after level 10, then like this video and join Otaku Define for more Persona content. Hey, take a look at this Twinkie Bard. Now look at this one's trench coat and nut protector. And how about this crimson— wait, that's the wrong one. The MCs Starter Persona are all designed to make a lasting impression, but it's too bad that their kit doesn't last long. So why did Atlus and P Studio create them to be this bad? Narratively speaking, the MC's initial personas act as a symbol. Starter personas like Orpheus, Izanagi, and Arsene represent the protagonist's journey. Orpheus and Makoto in Persona 3 deal with the theme of mortality, where Orpheus has to rescue his dead wife while Makoto saves the world from death. Persona 5's Arsene and Ren are both gentlemen thieves fighting for their own version of justice. Izanagi and Yu from Persona 4 are both Chads and is a symbol of making 1 million babies. They embody the character's initial state or potential. However, as the protagonist grows and develops, so too must their personas. Then why is my Arsene not learning any new skills? Well, it's because of how the story of these games are directed. Proven by how the residents of the Velvet Room have stated that the MC's true power lies in the strength of the bonds that they had formed throughout their journey. This growth is symbolized by the need to acquire and develop new personas that better reflect the protagonist's evolving power and experiences. And to do this, players must increase their social link or confident ranks by bonding with other characters. Rather than developing Arsene to have this certain skill, you can instead drink a few unregistered medications to summon a stronger persona. The limitations on these starter personas mirror the protagonist's early stage in their journey. As the story progresses and the protagonist matures, they require more advanced personas to face increasingly challenging foes, symbolizing their growth and the need to move beyond their starting point. The main character's initial personas are not their only true form. So if you haven't been keeping up with your checkups with a goth doctor, then good luck managing your SP consumption or even summoning this innocent girl as your persona. Aside from the narrative, the MC Starter Persona needed a nerf to highlight the importance of the Velvet Room, since this is the place where persona fusion takes place. By having the initial persona stop learning new skills early, the game subtly directs players towards the Velvet Room to fuse new personas, encouraging players to experiment with different combinations to build a stronger and more versatile team. This reinforces the importance of the fusion mechanic and ensures that players engage with it to enhance their gameplay experience. The Velvet Room is also tied to the protagonist's personal development. Engaging with it and creating new personas is part of the character's growth, both in terms of power and narrative. It also makes the gameplay diverse, since instead of relying on the starter persona, the game instead pushes us out of the comfort zone. The limitation of the starter persona was also created to avoid being overpowered early in the game. If the starter personas continue to learn new and powerful skills beyond level 10, then it could disrupt the balance of the game, making the early parts too easy and reducing the challenge. By capping the skill progression of these personas, the game maintains a balanced difficulty curve, ensuring that players must continue to adapt and strategize as they progress. But then, Arsene with abyssal wings. It looks so amazing and it fits him so well. It's true that from a narrative and gameplay standpoint, it makes sense as to why starter personas of the main characters are so limited. But this doesn't mean that Persona 6 should continue in that direction, as there are ways to make the starter personas viable while also maintaining the narrative symbolism as well as keeping the game balanced. If the MC's initial persona continue to grow, they maintain their symbolic importance throughout the narrative. This can add a layer of depth to the story, as the persona represents not just the beginning of the protagonist's journey, but also their ongoing evolution and resilience. After awakening Arsene as Ren's persona, he continues on as a phantom thief. So, making the starter persona viable is consistent with the persona symbolizing the protagonist. The starter persona also preserves the protagonist's unique identity throughout the game, as these personas are often closely tied to the protagonist's character. Keeping them viable maintains that connection and keeps the protagonist's identity intact. Take the anime for example. You can always see Yu using Izanagi and Ren using Arsene. Moreover, it can also strengthen the player's emotional connection to the protagonist, as these personas often symbolize the protagonist's identity or starting point. Developing these personas continually reinforces the bond between the player and the character. In the aspect of the social link or confidant, do you know the mechanic where if you have a persona of the same arcana as the social link, then it will increase the level of bond points? Well, how about if we have the MC Starter Persona equipped, then we should also be able to get the bonus bond points if we are spending time with our teammates. For example, if we have Izanagi in our party and hang out with Yosuke, we can still get much closer.
Is something wrong, Yosuke?
It can also diversify the strategy, since if the starter persona becomes viable, then players could explore deeper development and mastery of their starting personas, potentially leading to varied and innovative approaches to battles instead of over-relying on the fusion mechanic, which also gives way to long-term planning, as players could focus on building up their initial persona to handle various challenges, adding another layer of depth to their approach. And for an extra, it can even introduce a challenge run where we finish the game solely using the starter persona without using skill cards. With regards to the balance and the need to fuse new personas, Persona 6 can include a palace or a stage, where it is the weak element of the protagonist's starting persona, thus encouraging players to fuse new personas to strategize against that weakness. Persona 6 can also balance the skill tree and the stats gained to prevent them from becoming overpowered. If Persona 6 can fix the problem of the main character's starter persona, then it would introduce a lot of new things when it comes to the gameplay mechanics of the series. We might even start seeing new signature moves for the starter persona because again, it would have been cool to see Arsene having abyssal wings. But hey, let me hear your thoughts. Do you think starter persona need to be more viable in Persona 6? Or should we just stay with the working formula? Speaking of working formulas, Persona 6 should adapt what Persona 5 did with their intro arc, and I stand by this opinion, that the Sujin arc was made better because of this pervy teacher. If you're curious why, then check this video out. Join Otaku Define for more Persona content. This is Math, and stay awesome my dudes.